He is Mark Hilliard. He is the president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce, visits with us once a month and talks to us about things that are going on. Just had a meeting last week of the board of directors, huh?
Yes, we did. We had it last Thursday, and it was a pretty good meeting. A lot of various reports discussed. So we covered some issues from all across the board. It wasn't one topic that dominated. It was a little bit of everything.
What were the standouts for you? I know what I read about it and what stood out for me, but what was for you?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is information that we had heard in other committees and with other groups, but a big topic of discussion, especially for this area, is what's being referred to as the nuclear bailout, and what's going to happen there with legislation with some of the nuclear power plants that are looking to shut down. So that has somewhat of an impact in this area because the questions are being brought up of what it will do to coal. So that was one issue, and broadband for schools, which was an issue that was getting worked out. So that was something that was brought up by Aaron IU that they discussed that and the deal made with DQE. So those were two of the main topics that I think were brought up and discussed, and things like workforce. So obviously the Employment Expo that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. But like I said, it's a little bit of everything. It wasn't one topic that kind of dominated everything.
One of the things that we were talking about earlier this morning, as a matter of fact, with Vince Mercuri and Eric Lauber, we were talking in that context about marijuana and how it is becoming more and more mainstream and how employers have to deal with that. And we talk about workforce development, and you have said, and so have others in the past, that it's getting really, really difficult for employers to find employees who come in with clean blood screens.
Yeah, and it's funny when you talk to some of them, because of the medical marijuana, being discussed and legalizing marijuana, a lot of people don't look at it as a drug. So when you say, a drug test, some people are still naive enough, believe it or not, that they don't consider marijuana to be a drug, and it is, and that shows up on a lot of these drug tests. So, that's a little bit frustrating from an employer standpoint, and it's difficult because there are people out there who, there are plenty of jobs available, but as we've always said, it seems like there are some issues like the drug test, the background check, showing up for work. Those are things that seem to be a little bit of a problem, and it's employers will say, how badly do you really want to work? I mean, you need a job. I have a job here. All you have to do is pass a drug test, a background check, and show up for work, and we'll employ you. But that's not always as easy these days.
You wonder if other areas are as afflicted with this concern as this area is. And I sort of get the impression from what I read that everybody is all across the board.
Yeah, it's not just Western Pennsylvania, or certainly not Indiana County. This is happening across the state, across the country. When we do some research and I'm looking at workforce issues that might be successful in other areas, you're seeing that this is a problem all over the place. And I don't know whether or not this is a generational type of thing where, it's younger people that are being brought up for whatever reason don't have the same work ethic. I don't limit it to that because a lot of the individuals that are being discussed by employers are not just out of high school. They're not just out of college. They're, 30-year-olds that are still dealing with some of these issues that you would think would be, a little bit immature, but it's not limited to our county for sure. It's something that is happening all across the country right now. One
of the other highlights I found in the meeting was Byron Stauffer talking about business and business retention, and also about the Hoodlebug Trail, the expansion of the Hoodlebug Trail, the efforts that are made around this county that we might not think are really linked to the economic development of this county. The pedestrian bridge over Route 22, which has become a point of controversy.
Yes.
All of these things that are designed to get people flowing into Indiana County, and whether there is a viable economic opportunity there. And obviously with some of these things, there is a very, very direct connection. And that has to be a concern for the Chamber of Commerce as well.
Well, I mean, in terms of the Hoodlebug, we want anything that brings people into the county and gets them to stay here. And if we can get people and businesses to come into our county and opportunities to showcase our county, the Hoodlebug is a great opportunity for it. And that was an instance where it hasn't it's been 20 years since it's been resurfaced, so it's in desperate need of that, and we want to take care of things like that, and it's unfortunately that hoodle bug that will extend all the way to Blairsville. There are certain areas, especially as you get closer to Blairsville, that it does become a little more problematic, and it's not quite as convenient for people who are traveling on that. But certainly those are things that we'd like that process to be a little bit quicker. That's not, and I'm sure the Parks and Trails and the commissioners and everybody else would like that process to be quicker, so that when you receive that money, you can use it a little bit faster. But that's not the way that it typically works. So I know they're getting to it, and they're hoping that they may be able to speed up the process a little bit. But anything that we can do to help beautify Indiana County, make it a little bit more attractive as people come in here, especially with all these jobs that we're going to be having available with Urban coming and the other jobs that are available in the county right now. We want Indiana County to be an attractive place, not just to work, but for people to want to live here as well. Yeah, absolutely. Thinking about attracting people into Indiana County. Jack was telling me about talking with some folks from Notre Dame University of Ohio who were here for the basketball tournament over the weekend, and how they commented on the KCAC and what a great venue it is, but how much greater it is now that the Hilton Garden Inn is next door to it, and the teams can stay there and just walk across the lot, and they're there in the arena, and what a great thing that is. And the tie between our hotel capacities here in Indiana, not just Hilton Garden, but all of the hotels around Indiana, with events at the KCAC. That's really what it's supposed to be like, isn't it? Yeah, what's great about that is that you're starting to see here over the last year especially a lot more conferences and outside of events that are more like statewide or regional events that are being brought here that aren't necessarily sports-related or entertainment-related. They're conferences, people coming here to meet, similar to what happened on Friday with the Safety and Security Symposium. It's an attractive place for that. Number one, because the Hilton's next door. Number two, the other hotels are it's easily accessible from multiple hotels. So we truly can have almost any event at that arena, and we have the capabilities within the county to be able to house people and have people stay there overnight because of the hotel situation. So we're blessed. I can't think of a lot of counties our size that have that kind of capability. Number one, the KCAC is an amazing asset that we have, but number two, the hotel, the hotels that we have throughout the area where people can actually stay, and you'll see it this summer too with that softball tournament that comes in. You're talking thousands of people that'll come here, and we have the hotels for the most part that can take care of any situation that we do bring into the county. It's kind of interesting. You mentioned the softball tournament. Tom Harley is so instrumental in that, and he's what you would call a veteran businessman here in Indiana County, and there are so many people who have been here for a lot of years and putting forth a lot of effort to make this county work. The younger generation, the young professionals who are coming up are someone that I know in the past couple of years, Indiana County has made a great effort to really help them to grow into the role of our future leaders. Well, we have, as part of the Chamber, a Young Professionals Organization, and they meet actually. Their next board meeting is this, or committee meeting, I should say, is this Wednesday morning. But they do a lot, and they had a lunch and learn at the Hilton Garden Inn this past week, where they had an individual from the Lymphoma Society come and speak. But they do a lot of those educational type of events, but then they'll also work to raise money and fundraise and give back to different organizations throughout the community. But it's a great time to be able to have people come in and network as young professionals, but also be able to find ways to get more involved within the community. And it does train them. And it's impressive when you see some of these folks and what they are able to do. And I said I don't technically qualify to be a young professional anymore, but it's still because they're part of the Chamber organization. I still try to be involved with as much as I can with them, and they are an impressive group, and it is great to see what the future holds for Indiana County and to get people involved at a younger age to be able to get more involved with things throughout the county. He's Mark Hilliard, president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. What you got coming up? Well, number one, if you're interested, contact the Chamber if you want to be in the Young Professionals organization. I want to mention that we do have the Healthiest Employer Challenge that will be starting with IRMC, and Amanda Augustine helping us to put that together. That begins on April the 1st, so if you business is interested please contact the Chamber office. We are still accepting businesses, and REA won it last year. We're hoping at the Chamber to maybe get them out of there this year and take that top spot. So if anyone else wants to accept that challenge, come on board as well. And we have a Chamber happy hour this coming Thursday down at Disobedient Spirits in Homer City. So that's sponsored by VI Logic. So we do have a lot of events coming up, and of course the Employment Expo on April the 4th. So it's busy, a lot of things going on, but that's a good thing.
People want to check it out, just go to the Chamber website, yes?
Check out IndianaCountyChamber.com or call our office, 465-2511.
He is Mark Hilliard, President of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Todd.
The voice of Indiana County.